I want to make something clear before I start. I didn't do anything wrong. I just didn't see it. Not until it was way too late. You know how everyone talks about gut feelings? That sense you get when something just isn't quite right? I used to think mine was broken. Or maybe I'd learned to ignore it too well. Until Danny. I met her my second year of college. I'd transferred schools to get away from a bad breakup and wanted a fresh start. New city, new campus, no baggage. I didn't want friends at first, just space. But Danny wasn't the kind of person who let you drift by unnoticed. She sat next to me, in Psych 203, the easy A class everyone took when they needed a break from real coursework. She was loud, in the way charming people are, like she could turn awkwardness into confidence with a laugh and a sarcastic comment. And she noticed me, said I looked forlorn and haunted. I joked that she sounded like a ghost hunter. She liked that. We started getting coffee after class, then lunch. Then she started studying at my apartment, even though it was a 15-minute bus ride from campus. She'd bring snacks, sit cross-legged on my couch, and talk about everything. Her old high school friends, her complicated relationship with her mom, the weird neighbor in her building who watched her through the mail slot. Danny always had stories, wild ones, the kind that made your own life feel boring by comparison. I asked if they were true once, and she gave me this look, part insulted, part amused, and said, "I don't lie, but I know how to keep things interesting." That should have been the first red flag. The first real shift happened in December, finals week. She came over late one night in the rain. I remember that, because she was soaking wet, mascara running, clutching a torn envelope. Her hands were shaking. She said her roommate had gone through her stuff and found a letter Danny had written, but never sent. Something about an ex-boyfriend and wanting revenge. I didn't ask questions. I let her crash on my couch. That one night turned into 2, then 5. I offered her my bed, but she refused. Said she liked the couch. Said it felt more honest. I still don't know what that meant. Eventually I asked if she was going back to her place. Once, I caught her scrolling through my messages while I was in the shower. I asked her what she was doing, and she just held up the phone like, "Relax, I was checking the time." The lock screen literally said 1:42 p.m. in big white numbers. I started keeping my phone on me all the time after that. And when I mentioned maybe getting some space after the semester, her mood flipped so fast it gave me whiplash. She cried, like ugly sobbing, curled up on my floor like I'd just told her someone died. One night in February, I came home, and she was already inside. I never gave her a key. The door wasn't broken. No signs of forced entry. I asked her how she got in, and she said she guessed where I kept my spare. It was in a tiny magnetic box under the back porch railing. Not exactly obvious. Danny. I was worried someone might try to hurt you. You're too trusting. I laughed at the time, but it sat wrong in my stomach, like the taste of milk gone bad. A few weeks later, I woke up to the sound of my own name being whispered. I thought I was dreaming, but no. I sat up in bed and saw Danny standing in my doorway, not moving, just watching me. "Danny, you looked like you were having a bad dream." I don't remember what I said next. Probably something to get her out of the room without making her cry again. I started locking my bedroom door after that. She found ways around it. The first real twist came in March. I was meeting up with some classmates for a group project, something I'd mentioned offhand the week before. Nothing special. But when I got to the cafe, Danny was already there. She acted surprised to see me. Said she'd just happened to be in the neighborhood. That it was fate. Even tried to sit down with us, like she was part of the group. My classmate Sarah asked if she was joining the project. Danny, "Oh, I already know everything about it. I help them study all the time." I hadn't studied with her in weeks. That night, I checked my backpack. My notes were gone. A few days later, my flash drive was missing. She'd copied everything, inserted herself into my life in ways I didn't even notice. I confronted her. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just looked me dead in the face and said, "Why do you think I picked you?" I told her to leave. She did. For a day. Then came the knocks. At first, they were gentle. Late at night, always 2 soft taps. Then silence. I never saw anyone through the peephole. I thought it was in my head. Until one night I came home and found a note slid under my door. It just said, "You made me this way." I changed my locks, blocked her number, told campus security. They said unless she threatened me or broke in, there was nothing they could do. The next week, my professor pulled me aside, asked if I was okay. He said someone had emailed him pretending to be me, saying I was depressed, that I needed extra consideration for assignments. He showed me the emails. They were written in my voice. The grammar, the phrasing, even the little way I used dashes instead of commas. It was perfect. It was Danny. She'd been watching me long enough to mimic me exactly. I nearly dropped out that semester. I stopped going out, changed my class schedule, my routines, even started looking for apartments off campus. But the damage was already done. She hadn't just inserted herself into my life. She'd replaced me in parts of it. One of my classmates, Sarah, told me she thought Danny and I had been roommates since freshman year. We hadn't even met until October. She rewrote my story while I was still living it. The final twist, the one that keeps me up at night, didn't come until May. I was packing to leave campus early. I'd signed up for remote classes, made arrangements with my landlord, everything. I just wanted to disappear. That's when I got the call from Danny's mother. She said she was sorry to bother me, but Danny had listed me as her emergency contact. Apparently she checked into a psychiatric facility out of state, had some sort of breakdown. Her mother asked if I'd ever noticed signs of instability, said Danny always spoke so highly of me, said I was the only person she ever trusted. I didn't know what to say. I was silent the entire call. But here's the part that breaks me. She never had a roommate. That story about the letter, the fight, the betrayal, all fake. The address she gave me for her old apartment didn't exist. I checked. No records, nothing under her name, no utilities, no lease, no Danny. It was all fabricated. She never left a life to move into mine. I was the life. I think about that a lot now. About how easy it was for her to do it. How quickly I fell into the idea of being someone's safe place. How she fed off that. There's a part of me that feels guilty, like I invited it. But there's another part, the quiet part that only speaks up late at night. That wonders if she's still watching me somehow. If this story, right now, is just another one she's rewritten in her own version. If she's out there, telling someone else that I was the villain. That I left her. That I ruined her life. That she was the victim all along. And maybe, to her, she really was. That's the scariest part. She believed it, and for a little while, so did I.